Hundreds of plates laid out in the sands of Rio de Janeiro's Copacabana beach, a powerful message from a leading Brazilian NGO.
We have placed 733 empty plates here with these crosses because an empty plate symbolizes death. And all of this is because, according to UN data from last year, 733 million people suffered from hunger worldwide.
At the same time as the protest was underway in Rio de Janeiro sport area, a document emerges at the close of the G20 Social Summit, an initiative launched by President Lula last year when Brazil took over the G20 presidency from India. This document, to be distributed to the leaders of the G20 countries, calls for the progressive taxing of the world's mega-rich to address climate change and hunger, as well as reforming the UN Security Council to include more representation from the Global South. The summit was conceived as a platform for direct dialogue between G20 leaders and civil organizations, bringing together Black, Indigenous and women's groups, and also climate NGOs, among others. Hundreds of meetings were held in Brazil and internally in G20 countries to finalize their demands. And President Lula was adamant that it was the beginning of what should become a permanent movement.
It is true that these countries represent 85% of the world's GDP, 80% of global trade, and nearly 2/3 of the world's population. So we can make a difference. But if we as leaders fail to act, then you must shout, protest, because otherwise nothing will happen.
Brazil's team, including President Lula, were also on hand to officially pass the G20 baton onto next year's summit host, South Africa. This is the first time that concerned citizens groups have been included in a G20 process, and hopes are high that the document they produced will lead to meaningful results in the next days at the Leaders' Summit. Lucrecia Franco, CGTN, Rio de Janeiro.